Welcome back. Yes. Uh, so, so in case of negative emotion or positive emotion, yeah, just one thing was coming in my mind to ask Joy. Joy, we overheard something during the silence that kitna kharab mila hai B2. What was that? Will Is it possible for you to share?
Yeah. It was for my son actually.
Yes, progress report.
Yeah, progress report.
Yes.
Actually, to be like my son, I had once him got him diagnosed because he has some attention problem. So this he has some problem in attention. So that's what I was mentioning him, that you better give more attention to your studies now. You have got a not a good grade, B2, just to encourage him.
Yes. So that the fire, walking on the fire is a success, as we term. The B2 is a bad uh, uh, grade. That is also our interpretation, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So it starts with a perception, maybe proposed by someone, or we have picked up somehow. So it starts with perception, then it brings a sensation. Brings a sensation means in terms of conclusion. So how to find out sensation? As Renuka was asking the question that how can I find out that whether it is from sensation or from perception? So here the conclusion, that somehow if I am concluding anything, in my perception, whenever there is a conclusion, in the perception, it becomes a sensation. Can we comprehend this proposal? Amrit ma'am, Shanta ma'am. Yes.
Trying to understand everything, Kalyanji.
Yes. So perception is basically something comes to my mind. That's what perception is basically, that in terms of understanding level or misunderstanding level. The perception is understandable or not. The experience of perception.
Yes.
Now, whenever any perception is concluded, that in terms of interpretation, that this is the thing, this cannot be something else, this is the success. Even in case of fear, it's a non-inquiring conclusion, that one had an experience of getting burned by someone else, but he did not inquire further whether the fire is the cause of burning or not. It is the individual intentionally running behind me with fire that was causing me getting burned. So if that individual would have inquired deeply and asked oneself whether the fire has got some intention to burn me or not, then these things will dissolve. But there was a conclusion, juxtaposing, like it happens in many PTSD, like post-traumatic stress disorders. Any trauma that gets juxtaposed, like if you are driving a car and got met with an accident, then you are scared to drive car. An inquiring understanding will reveal that it was a problem of driving at that particular moment. It is not perennial. There was a conclusion of about the driving itself, driving the car itself, and one stops driving car, getting scared driving his car. So these are nothing but conclusions coming from a perception. Yes, Rashi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, so I just wanted to inquire here because we are surrounded by many such perceptions and
Yes,
we are living. For example, coming first in your class
yes,
is considered an achievement. I mean, it is the thing,
yes,
what you were saying,
yes.
right?
Such as
So,
the grade B is a bad grade,
absolutely,
B2 or
absolutely.
something.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
So, what should be our state of perception at this stage when you have not come first, but you have really, you know, I mean, so how do we inquire into these things?
yes. So if we can inquire into the aspects of studying, learning at the depth, so an inquiring mind will never remain in the surface. Will go deep into the aspects everywhere. So if it is inquired that what is the purpose of learning, what is the purpose of study. See, when we limit the purpose of learning to getting a job, getting a package in job, or getting a position, those are the conclusions that we make. When we dive deep into the meaning of learning or purpose of learning, then it's an endless journey. The learning is an endless journey. If we limit that with the marks, grade, salary, position, then the very scope of learning is limited. Can we understand this? Is it going very philosophical?
Yeah, yeah, this is very clear.
So if we dive deep into the very meaning of the aspects, here in this case, the learning, these are just byproducts in the process. The getting some grade, securing a position of first, all these things are byproduct in the process. Can we look at it as byproduct, not the objective? The moment we start considering these as objective, these are nothing but conclusions, and these are nothing but the sensations that we suffer from, and we transfer this to the offsprings also, offspring or whatsoever, like in communication. Yes.
Yeah, so basically expecting, that my kid should come first could be energy draining, right?
Yes, so that's obviously an energy draining, but primary question is that how to look at it. Can I look at it deeply or not? That's the primary question. That
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
where am I stagnating myself? Yes, John.
may we take these grades like to not only to get good grades, but we can motivate them to be more aware, more attentive, like
Yes.
what I
Can
have
we
been doing.
stop discussing about the grades? That's a bigger question. Can we stop discussing about the grade completely?
Uh, I agree with you. But then what could be the motivating factor by which we can motivate a student like to be
Yes,
more aware?
yes. Now the question is, why motivate? That's
Yes.
a further deeper question. Are
Now
we considering the children are not naturally driven to learn?
no, that
And
that
they
that
need to
may be
be.
directly like to harness more energy in him, to make him aware that you have that energy. That is what I mean by motivation. That
Right.
to like still I'm using the word motivation.
Yes,
Like
yes.
to means I will use it again. Motivate him to harness more energy and focus on means something which is required.
So how one can harness energy? Can we go a little deeper about it?
Yeah, by
How
bringing
one
more
can.
awareness, by bringing more awareness.
Right. Now
Joy,
what is.
but what I feel that we are two different individuals. Although he's or she may be my child, but
Yes.
there we are unable to motivate them also because we don't know what's their interest. We can't presume that he will be interested in the same way as I am presuming that he should be. They may
Yes.
have totally different interest altogether. So as Kalyan was mentioning that why the need to motivate? Let them be in their flow, and in the flow the things reveal, and then both of us understand at the same time ki okay, this is the thing which is unfolding.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a deep topic, and we'll revisit going forward. Yeah, Joy, you want to reflect on this?
No, you can continue. Thank you.
Yes. So the framework of negative emotion or positive emotion in both the cases, it starts from a perception which gets transformed into sensation. Sensation means the conclusions, the fixations. And when any sensation coming from perception, it will actually hit back to the perception, strengthening it. Whatever the perception was coming as sensation, this sensation will strengthen that perception. So a scary experience will be more scary going forward when we go with the sensation without inquiry. Same goes for the motivational aspect, success aspect, all these stories of success, which are created stories, which are created that this can be considered as success. And the moment you start considering this as success, another layer comes up, strengthening the similar kind of perception. And the repeat of sensation happens. And this becomes a vicious cycle. This is a primary loop that gets formed. You know, this particular looping of perception and sensation. Perception, any sensation, whatsoever subtle it may be, any sensation, if it is coming from perception, it will repeat in itself. Unless questioned, unless inquired. So this is the loop of P3P2. P3P2 loop will repeat in itself unless it is questioned. Any idea whatsoever it may be. Any idea means any perception that has come to me from
Kalyanji,
outside.
can you give another example for this loop?
Yes.
Some another example.
Yes. So these actually can happen in any kind of psychotic experiences in terms of anxiety. When suppose you are scared of exam, again we are going to the study, but let's take some other example. Can we take example of sex for that matter? So fantasy, pornography, masturbation, all these things. The root is the idea of sex, which is not the actual sex. Like there are people, youngsters these days are very prone to get addicted to pornography. Now, what is a pornography? Why an individual gets attracted towards pornography? It is an idea of sex. It is not actual sex. It is portraying of sexual act, and that individual in its psychological domain brings a sensation which is pleasurable from the idea. So nothing is actually happening for that individual, but through the idea, a feel good aspect is brought in within the body. And the moment that feel good factor comes in from the sight, from the visuals, there is a feel good factor, sexually feel good factor, which will justify that particular option of choosing a pornography. And that is why the addiction, any formation of addiction has got this loop. There is an idea which proposes that this is the thing which will give you the pleasure. Now we indulge into that pleasure without looking at the realistic aspect, that this is a pseudo sense of pleasure that I'm creating for myself. It is not the actual sense of pleasure.
why does he opt for that pseudo sensation? Why would a person opt for such a loop?
This is very
Because
deep.
either the person is not getting the proper exposure to that action, sensation, and psychological P1, P2, P3, that
Yes.
loop, he is not able to properly get into
The
that loop
natural
regard
sequence. Yes.
natural, like natural sex, and in a pleasant manner, in a
Yes.
natural manner, or organic manner. And he is having lot of thoughts, dualistic thoughts. This is bad, society considers it bad, so he doesn't understand that action in a proper manner, so he goes for these shorter loops. That may be one
That could
reason
be.
why he
That
would
could be one reason. That could be one reason. But see, when we dig out the reasons, we start bringing an excuse of not changing myself. This is another aspect we need to bring in this discussion. When we dig out the reason, that this is the reason, that is why this has happened, it is a form of excuse of not changing. Can we comprehend this proposal? So
so
having
trying
some
to
reason.
understand something at an organic level, why
Yes.
it really happens.
Hmm, hmm.
So in that, the psychological element we are not considering. So that loop, it's a self-repetitive loop, what you mentioned now, that conflicting loop.
Yes, yes. So now, see, it's a situational aspect that may lead the individual. That's what is our assumption. That may lead the individual into such situation, into such state of conflict. Are we proposing that, ma'am?
Yes, as a society, as a group of people and elders, and group around that person, we are not giving him and ourselves and everybody a chance to understand that particular event in a healthy manner. We don't discuss sex. We consider it as a wrong thing only. Generally, people don't discuss about the such issues with the children or in the society. So that itself is considered as something wrong and negative. So I think
Yes,
that
yes.
could be one reason.
Yeah. So here, what we are trying to understand, whether the individual is a victim of situation
Uh-huh.
or responsible for the experience of that individual. This is a bigger question. This
Mm.
needs further exploration. Let's explore this
Yes, yes.
further in a while.
Yeah.
But this is a deep question, that whether the individual is a victim or responsible, you know, and which will lead the reversal of this conflict. If I play a victim card, will I be able to reverse it? If I take the responsibility, can I reverse it? This is a deeper question. Rather. So we were talking about this vicious cycle of psychological perception and physiological sensation, which repeats in itself. And this runs, see, one aspect we need to understand here, the psychological perception and physiological sensation is absolutely personal for an individual. We started with that understanding. P1, P2, P3. P2 and P3 is completely personal domain. Whatever is the sensation that is being sensed by me, nobody else can sense. And I cannot sense someone else's sensation. And so goes for the perception also. My perception is my perception, nobody else can perceive. Others' perception is any other perception is his or her perception, I cannot perceive.
But my perception has been created because of my conditioning and my
And which I have accepted.
which I
Which
have
I have
accepted.
accepted. And
What
and
all
made it my
conditioning?
perception.
Yeah.
Yes. Can complete your question?
So
Okay.
perception, sensation is individual to individual. That is a chemical domain. But whereas
Yes.
psychological domain will have the conditioning element into it, what sort of conditioning I have undergone till now.
Yes.
I will
But
perceive it in that manner.
yeah, so do I accept the perception proposed or not? That's a
I
very
should be
crucial question.
mature enough. I should be an grown up person enough. Otherwise, as a child, I may be perceiving depending upon my conditioning.
See, the problem of accepting someone's perception as my perception is not a childish problem. It's a confusion that occurs due to various reasons. Various reasons. A child will hardly be conditioned. You know, if we are terming that this happens out of innocence, then the innocence is a crime. A child is not that innocent to get conditioned. The child will be the primary inquirer. Whenever you try to influence the child will bounce back with question in all possibilities, unless suppressed and strangulated. That way, the inquiry strangulation. So
I have a question.
yes, Deepa.
So with respect to like the energy involved in this, like this loop will involve like it will deplete the energy
Yes,
and less will be available for action.
yes,
But in like I remember in biology, like with respect to fear, it is proposed that let's say a deer confronts like a lion or a tiger, and there is fear involved. The fear invokes like the rush of adrenaline and all that, which gives the energy to, let's say, flight.
yes,
So both these are different. So I was just wondering how
yes, 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 yes.
they work then.
So here, what we need to understand, in the animal kingdom, the things are pretty physical. So we'll be able to easily understand that. Suppose a deer confronted with a situation that a lion is there in front of the deer and it's going to get the deer. Now, what the deer needs here to flight, the energy. Try and understand. It needs energy to flight, to run away with a faster speed. It needs energy. Now, suppose there is a phenomena within the deer which is depleting its energy. It's a mathematics, it's a simple mathematics, which is depleting its energy. Then the speed of the running away will be lessening or more? This is a simple question. If the fear factor, if we are contributing that because of the fear, the energy is being fast, the speed is being fast, this is an assumption. Are you able to understand this, Deepak? Because it needs energy, and if there is a energy depletion happening parallelly, then how the speed can be increased mathematically?
So maybe it isn't a continuous fear. Maybe in that moment there is fear, and that is what I understood from matlab, biology point, that it
Yes.
releases these hormones and a rush of energy and whatever excitement.
Yes,
And then
that is what is called stimulation. That is what is called a stimulation. Like the case, the example that we just discussed, walking on the fire. Walking on the fire is naturally not possible. Naturally not possible unless there is a kind of push from inside, so-called quote unquote motivation, and one overcomes the pain of getting burned. You know, the pain of getting burned. And how that happens? That happens by drawing energy from other areas of life and bringing at that particular point. But a single point cannot be claimed to be life. If we start considering that this particular point, in case of deer and lion, this is practical. This is practical and rational because it's a physical reason. It's a physical threat and one has to run away. Right? So in that case, stimulation makes sense and that happens internally, whatever the chemical change happens and it gathers, and definitely it's not captured with the fear, but it's with an awareness of running away, only it runs away. The fear is our assumption that deer is running out of fear, the fear that we experience in our lives. Can we comprehend
Yes,
this?
that makes sense.
Right? So now in this particular case, what Deepa question is that if the depletion happens, then the individual is left out with very smaller portion of energy, with which the action, if taken, with which the action is taken, then the action will face failure, quote unquote. Whatever the objective was sketched, in most of the cases, the individual will not be able to achieve it. In few of the cases, individual will achieve it, and that is far more dangerous. That is far more dangerous because one will be able to achieve quote unquote success only by withdrawing energy from other places, because the mathematics is here. Here, the depletion is happening. It is very obvious. With this depletion, if I sense a success, then definitely I am depriving myself from a holistic life. From other areas of life, I'm withdrawing energy and putting at this point to achieve that success. And that's how there are these business proposals that you visualize for a Mercedes, then you get that Mercedes. Happens. You know, have you heard about those kind of proposals? Visualization, affirmation, that you keep stick a Mercedes picture in your study, and every day you energize it, so called, and one day you will achieve. This happens because of the depleting energy from other areas and putting there at that point. What will happen if one achieves a Mercedes in real sense? In real sense, what will happen? What is the difference of riding in a Maruti 800 versus Mercedes? Traveling from point A to point B in real sense, other than the ideation of the luxury and all those stuff. Can we inquire all these things without exaggerating the philosophical dimension? Can we inquire? Can we inquire what is the real difference between riding in a bullock cart and reaching from point A to point B and Mercedes? What is the real difference? There is nothing. Actually, there is nothing other than the imagination, other than the assumption of success. So that would become that if someone senses success, despite having this loop, if someone senses success, that becomes far more dangerous thing for that individual in terms of energy depletion. Why? That individual will start bringing justifications and excuses for the action. One will keep on justifying the action. So in case of failure, what happens? That this is a bad. Yes, Amrit, yes.
Kalyanji, I can understand this particular example from the point of view of having a materialistic thing like a Mercedes car or a Maruti car. But what if the point from one trying to bring in the health aspect, affirmation, and so
Yes.
is it that we are trying to deplete energy from other sources and
Yes.
bring the affirmation in the health
Beautiful
aspect?
question. Beautiful question. So what happens here in the health aspect, the primary understanding is we are naturally structured to be healthy for our lifetime. This is the primary understanding of natural health. We are structurally programmed to be healthy. If with a condition we become healthy, if with a condition we become healthy, whatsoever, it could be an apple a day, a condition, a natural fruit, apple. With that condition, if I am healthy, am I healthy? Am I naturally healthy or I am conditional healthy? And that condition here is an apple a day. Are we able to understand this?
I'm getting it, getting it.
So what we are trying to understand is here the natural health. Not, and what is the meaning of natural health? Unconditional natural health. If I am structured to extinct, then I should get extinct. If I am structured to extinct, then I should get extinct. If I expand the extinction, if I delay the extinction with some conditioning, then that delayed period is not my natural life. Can we understand this?
Can I just ask you further?
Yes, ma'am.
What if somebody is not well and having a health condition and wants to have this affirmation of being healthy?
Yes.
Then how does this work?
Yes. So now that individual, the primary question that individual needs to ask himself that what is the objective of that individual? To get rid of this particular symptomatic problem, because health issue, somebody is having health issues means somebody is having some symptomatic feeling bad, symptomatic experience of feeling bad. Now, one needs to dive deep into this aspect that do I want to get rid of this particular symptom or do I need a natural health in my life? Are you able to comprehend this question now?
Yes, I am.
So if that individual can look into this factor, that a mere symptomatic relief with whatsoever condition it may be, it could be an allopathic medicine or an apple a day. So an apple a day in an allegory I'm using of any natural specific proposal. Natural specific proposal. What it means that you have to have this particular food only or this particular exercise only. This kind of enforcement, these are also conditions. If I am getting relief from a symptom due to some kind of enforced condition whatsoever, this is not a revival of my natural health. I have to understand this aspect to begin with. Then we'll understand how actual reversal happens, if it can happen. How actual reversal happens, because we are crafted, we are structured to reverse the health issues. All organisms are structured to bring back the homeostasis from whatsoever the condition it may be. And it's a dialectical fact. It's a fact actually to be inquired. Is it? Are you able to comprehend, ma'am?
I am. Needs to be probed further on my part.
Yes. Right. So we have few seconds for this session. So we'll rejoin with 5 minutes of silence, and we'll start from this slide only. And let's see where we lead to. Thank you.